Okay, so we've recently had a workplace outbreak. Could you explain to us how all the cases are connected?
Well, number one, these outbreaks are not unexpected as the economy reopens, and we will have more cases in KFL&A over time. That's a certainty. But we can prevent them, we can limit them by having adherence to best practices as consumers and as employers and those working in the workplace itself. So we were notified of a positive healthcare worker recently. And that alone, a healthcare worker working at Kingston Health Sciences Centre would have necessitated an outbreak investigation. All patients and all workers around that individual were tested, and they were happy to say that they were all negative. So that led us to understand, how could this person have come in contact with COVID-19? If it wasn't in the workplace, it must have been somewhere in the community. We were then notified of a positive child, and the parent of that child became positive as well. And we started asking the same questions. Who have you been in contact with? Where have you traveled? Where have you been? Are there any other sick individuals that you've been around, or where have you visited in the community? And we were informed of a worker in a community setting at a local restaurant and a partner being positive for COVID-19. When we went back and asked further questions, this healthcare worker, this parent, and this worker in the community had all been to a personal services setting in our community called Bins Nails. When we went to that workplace, within 24 hours, we went there, we did testing of all the workers, and there are 3 positive workers at that establishment. We also found that there were some deficiencies in best practices on limiting the spread of COVID-19. So this is a reminder to all of us in the community that this virus can enter into our community very rapidly. It wants to spread rapidly, but we all have a role to play. For workplaces, we have guidance for workplaces on our website, and it has an audit tool. We ask that every workplace adhere to this best practice on physical distancing, hand hygiene, and limiting the spread of COVID-19. From anyone that's visited Bins Nails from June 12th to the 24th, where the facility was closed, we ask that you quarantine for 14 days. If you develop any signs or symptoms of COVID-19, that you get tested and monitor your symptoms on a daily basis. This, in my mind, could have been prevented. We, as a community, must do better to adhere to best practices, and everyone has a role to play to limit the spread of this virus.